How did you feel about surfing, bro?
Surfing was my favourite. There's no feeling like surfing. I used to walk right out to Jim Point on my own. This is a good mile walk out the beach where no one is, and surf there on my own. My mates used to say they knew it was me because they could see that, because I was a pretty good surfer, and they used to tell by the big turns I was doing that it was me. And walking along the beach saying, "There's Youngie's already out." I remember things like that.
How long in a day did you do the surfing?
5, 6 hours sometimes. Sometimes I'd surf 7, 8 hours in one day. That's if I had a chance, because sometimes back then, in them days, in the 60s, it seemed like at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, you'd get huge ground swells where Cronulla Point was about 15, 20 foot. So the swell would roll down the Port Hacking into the bay, and we'd get these perfect tube waves that ran down the centre of the Port Hacking. The surf come in here, and we used to surf off that point there, and through here, and down through the beach.
There's no waves here, man.
I know there's no waves. It's when Cronulla's about 15 foot. When the swell doesn't come in like it used to, because it's too deep out there now and the waves die out. It used to be a lot more shallow, so the swell got in here. I used to surf off that point over there.
Really?
That little point. And it was 6, 8 feet at times when it was good. I was the king of that point as a kid. No one could surf it like I did. Used to break out the back here before the point, and they'd break down the middle of the harbour. 6, 8 feet sometimes. Perfect tube, one of the most perfect tubes in the world. And the point, I used to surf a lot to myself, because I just lived around the corner of the point. And I also lived across the beach. I'd come out the beach and go and surf from there too. So it used to be sort of when Cronulla was 10, 15 feet, Bundeena was about 5 or 6. And the Cronulla guys used to paddle across from Cronulla. It was funny, we used to paddle across to Sandshoes, Oak Park, Cronulla, when there was no swell to have a surf. So both of us, Cronulla guys, would paddle over and we'd paddle over to Cronulla. So it was like that back then.
Did surfing change your life, man?
Well, it made me realise the beauty of nature, because when I was out at Jiven and that, and I was surfing on this point, and I just looked out back at the beach and that, and it was just this little cove and this huge park and no houses, no buildings, and I thought going surfing to remote areas, and that was a really good way to see the beauty of the earth, you know, the place and things. Which my son does skateboarding, and he's a really good skateboarder, but he skates anywhere where it's good to skate, which can be in a back dirty alley with a nice rail, you know. So it's not the same thing for me, but you know, they don't see it that way. They enjoy the skating, but for me, surfing was more of a complete thing, as far as, you know, not only it was great for surf, but you're out on these waves, surfing these waves that were made by nature, going into this beautiful, you know, and there's tropical places like Bali and that really, you know, make that sport a really special thing, you know. That was for me, because the beauty of it, that was what I liked. And the feeling of surfing, you know, like I could go out and surf for hours and not fall off, because I liked it so much, you know, and enjoyed it so much.
What was your style of board, dude? Who made them for you?
Terry used to make them for me in GNS. I used to get them designed by him. I got a couple designed by Peter Jackson. He was good too, but mostly Gordon Smith. My best friend ended up being my school teacher, who ended up leaving and buying Gordon Smith, which was called GNS surfboards. And he said that my boards were so much smaller than everyone else's before, I was a bit before me time as far as surf design was concerned. 6 months later, they were all surfing the same boards I was. So he used to say to me, the boards that stick out that far out of the water, he said, with you, it'd stick out that far like they do now. He had professional surfers like Michael Peterson, Peter Townend, and people like that he sponsored. So there was no way I was ever going to get a sponsorship or anything, or it didn't even cross my mind. But I just wanted to surf, and I hated contests because I thought contests was mainstreaming it, and it just made more surfers, which made more people in the water, which made it more crowded and more unpleasant. And they still into contests today, and now they want to make it an Olympic sport. And my son's horrified about skateboarding being an Olympic sport. Mainstreaming something that's really special to you takes away that culture effect for me. You feel like it's your culture, it's your scene, but when they mainstream it, everybody does it. And like hitchhiking down the road with your board, and an old woodie would stop and pick you up. Years later, a Volvo would go past you, with one board on the top and not even look at you. That's how much it changed to me, the sort of person that surfed. What Terry told me, the guy who made the surfboards, he said my design was so much thinner and the boards were so much smaller. But I bought them for they were hard to paddle. The bigger boards were easy to paddle, so guys would catch waves better than me. But the actual, when you got on the wave, was the special part for me because I could do anything. I had a lot more movability. I heard a guy once say that the best surfboard is the one that you don't know that's under you. I design them, and you still can get custom-made boards. Most good surfers get their board custom-made to how they want the board made. I think I was one of the first ones who ever got a round tail, because most surfboards went to a point or went to a swallowtail, like a bird, like a swallow. And I got mine rounded, completely rounded, a big round, not a short round, but a real round. And I thought it'd give me more area for turning, and I could do bigger arcs on it. And it seemed to work, and it become my favourite board. And watching it now, looking at the boards now, most of them are round tails. So I was on the right track when I bought a round tail. I'm really impressed by that guy who made the 3 fins, because we didn't have 3 fins when I was a kid. We just had one big fin. That was okay. You could do, you can't do what they do now, but we used to do re-entries and all that sort of stuff and come off the lip and, really ride hard and on big waves. Now they're just incredible today. And I suppose contests have helped that. But I think really it comes back to the ability of the person and how good they are, not the contests. And what you're really surfing against is the elements, not against the person. To me, you're not, when you go out and surf and you're competing against the elements. You're competing against the wave, not the person that gets the next one. And he gets so many points and you get so many points. For me, that's ego-driven. You're the champion! It's not about that. If you compared yourself to Jimi Hendrix, you wouldn't pick up a guitar. So comparison kills. So why do that in the first place? Just do what you like doing and don't compare yourself to anyone. Just do what you love. That was always what I thought anyway, It's me, Johnny. I'm home.